Release the games! Here they all come, look, barreling out of Summer Games Fest 2023 like pure liquid hype from a big hype tap. Here are some of our highlights from the show that are heading to Game Pass and ready to load onto your ROG Ally. The games industry goes absolutely ham every June, and frankly, it's actually difficult to keep track of all the amazing announcements that burst forth from shows like Summer Games Fest. Luckily for you though, fantastically crafted YouTube listicles like this exist to fill you in on the titles you absolutely cannot miss. All these picks are headed to Xbox Game Pass, which means it's super easy to get them from storefront to your Ally's storage and take them out into the world with you. I'm looking backstage here and I can see that everyone's ready now. Yep, so bring on the games. Before Summer Games Fest, all we knew about Fable was that Forza Horizon developer Playground Games was working on it. After this frankly extraordinary trailer dropped, we now know that it's going to be the bestest game in the universe ever. Which is odd when you stop and think about it, because actually it doesn't tell us a lot. Richard Ayoade, Shrunken Hero, a big sword, jokes. That's basically the feature list at this point.
This is awkward.
Yeah.
But what matters is how they're used. This seems to be a world that's uniquely self-aware of RPG tropes and plays with them in such a clever way. NPCs here are sick of heroes turning up and doing whatever they like, and that combination of knowing humour and incredible production values has put Fable on the download from Game Pass on day one list straight away. From one fantastically exciting RPG to another, Avowed is the latest project by industry legends Obsidian Entertainment. And at Summer Games Fest, we really got to see how the Pillars of Eternity universe has manifested as a first-person 3D title. A strange plague is infecting the world, and you're bestowed with a unique power that can affect the course of your land's history. How will you wield it? This is classic Obsidian stuff thematically. As a studio, they're the masters of giving you tons of choices, making you really engage with those choices because you care about the world that they've built, and then showing you the consequences in far-reaching and eye-opening ways.
People don't like you very much, do they?
This is the studio's first-person 3D world since the release of the venerable Fallout New Vegas, and it's already very exciting to see the races and cultures of Pillars depicted like this. So we're basically already counting down the days until we can get this downloaded off Game Pass and onto our ROG allies. Many years ago, it was the pretender to Gran Turismo's throne. Now, Forza Motorsport is itself an elder statesman of serious driving games. You know, the kind of handling model that you have to respect if you want to get it round a lap cleanly. No endlessly refilling NOS canisters, no physics-defying drifts that seem to actually somehow pick up speed mid-corner, just a rigorous, weighty simulation of how sports cars and tarmac interact. Aside from the fastidious damage model and the gorgeous visuals, two elements that we knew about before SGF, the big news in this game is the idea of tuning your car and constantly upgrading it so that you can spec it out for numerous different disciplines and circuit types. Turn 10's calling this a car PG, which, yeah, let's just leave it at that. But there is something to be said for taking real ownership of a certain vehicle and seeing all the hours you spend in it translate to meaningful progress. You probably remember compulsion games from nightmarish 60s dystopia We Happy Few. You know, that survival game where everyone's drugged and hallucinates a much lovelier world around them than the one they're actually in. It was pretty cool. It turned a lot of heads with its bold creative direction, and so is South of Midnight, a stop-motion inspired, something. Yeah, that's the thing. As spellbinding as this FGS trailer was, it didn't give much away, did it? There's magic and there's monsters, there's very atmospheric Deep South blues guitar, and beyond that, we're all just speculating at this point. But with Compulsion's track record for going above and beyond with their world building, we reckon this is going to be a place we'll want to immerse ourselves in when it arrives. Well, this is exciting. An open-world Star Wars game set between Empire and Jedi where you get to be a lovable rogue and enjoy visuals this good. Yes, please, don't mind if I do. Thank you. Massive entertainment. Of course, we've all been hurt before by Star Wars games that look great and then never get revealed, or fail to live up to the galactically high expectations that come with this name. But we're putting all of our faith in the Division developer to right those historical wrongs and give us a chunk of that cinematic universe we can just live in. It attracted a lot of hype straight away when it was revealed at this year's SGF, and, well, you can see why, can't you? Ah yes, heist to see you, Payday 3. Sorry. Yes, robbing banks is awfully good fun though, and Payday 2's incredible longevity is testament to that. But for developers Starbreeze and Overkill, it's time for that trickiest of tasks, releasing a sequel to a massively popular and long-running online game. Not everyone gets that right, but taking the action from Washington DC to New York City and overhauling the whole experience of the heist does seem like a fine foundation. You can trade hostages for resources now, for example, or use them as bullet-absorbent shields against first responder fire, which, to be honest, I haven't seen happen that often in heist movies, but maybe I'm watching tamer cinema than Overkill, and that does seem likely given their name. Anyway, it's due later in 2023, and it's a Day 1 Game Pass title. What a steal. We're finishing with a brilliant blend of old and new. The OG of video game piracy, no, the other kind, Monkey Island, where hapless pirate Guybrush Threepwood roams the shores picking up random objects and putting them in his pocket to combine with other random objects at a later date. And Sea of Thieves, where hapless pirates, like me, fire themselves out of cannons and get all our plunder stolen by bigger boys. It's a match made in, well, if not heaven, then at least some kind of beautiful tropical beach where they turn a blind eye to gun crime and grog abuse. This collab follows the Pirates of the Caribbean expansion a couple of years back, and like that Disney tie-in, this one promises a host of new content, as well as the titular island to explore, including the notorious Scum Bar and Guybrush's mansion. And it might just be me, but is Guybrush looking a bit like Gaben these days? And that'll do it for your SGF picks that are headed to Game Pass. As ever, tell us about your highlights in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in another one.
All right, Nix, let's go get paid.